Hello guys, so long time no see. It was, I think it was a month, yeah, a month ago, 30 in September. Yep, it was my last prediction, I think, or even almost 1 month, yeah, almost 2 months. So yeah, I was still here. I was following my algorithm and I'm trying to predict longer time, not weekly times. And also because I haven't seen much change in my last prediction, I didn't upload a vid. So my last prediction, I think it was, I stated that the end target for the S&P is the 600, and it reached last week. Also, prediction was, I think it was where it was here. Let me see, 30. Yep, we're gonna see a pullback in time. So we got week of pullback in time, which means the price action didn't do much thing. The indicator gave that we weakness in the momentum, but the price action stay strong. Basically, it means a pullback in time, that the price action doesn't do anything, just goes straight, waiting for an opportunity and then break up. The 568, 565 was a key for a bigger pullback, and we didn't got it. So let's see here, 566. It didn't close below the 560, I think 8. Yeah, it didn't close below. And this is, we got a continuation for the 580, 85, 580. It was a middle target. Then we get a nice pullback and the end zone. So this is interesting because this is what I want to do, a new prediction, because it's going to be a unique one, I think. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. All right. This is the A move. This is the B move. This is the C move. Usually the B move is the bigger, A is the starter, C is the smallest. All right. And this is what we have. And usually after 3 waves, after the C move, we got a correction, which means correction should be something like this. It doesn't have to be a big one. And basically has 3 moves, A, B, and C. This is the smallest, and then a continuation with the trend. And the trend is still up. You can see it, the trend is still up, facing up. So for the bigger time frame, weekly, monthly, we are still in an up. For the shorter time frame, days and few weeks, we probably gonna see a deeper pullback. Now we have to ask ourselves where the pullback can come. First, the move here, as you can see, touching a key zone. This is the middle zone between those 2 highs and low. And from this small time frame, you can make, this is the end zone, the buyers will come. You can see the small tail here and then push to break the 600. You know what? Let's go for the weekly. Just you can see the end zone for the 608. And I stayed at 600 because just is a round number. You can see a big, nice weekly green candle, and below it is the 50. So we can, let's try make it something like this one, make it bigger. You can see it touched the 50, so the pullback was for the 50, which is nice. and it closed below, above, so it's still bullish sign. The weekly, also the weekly, you can see the trend is still up, but see what we have a divergence, and I think it didn't confirm yet, but it started. This is making lower high, this is making higher high, same as we saw that we are waiting in my last prediction. So this is the last pull, and this is the reason why I think we're gonna see a deeper pullback. It didn't finish yet. We probably need to see another red wick. But if the momentum here crosses below, we're gonna see a shift in the momentum, but it means that any pullback will meet the buyers. So guys, and because we can see this wave here, much clearer here. So if the price managed to stay above this line, we are still in a bullish move, guys. Even if we're gonna see few weeks of a red wicks, we are still in a bullish trend. This is my opinion. Let's go back for the daily. And for the daily, in a much smaller time frame, we need to see it above the 5, let's say 68. All right. And it can do so because very interesting. Let's say this is the break. It's not a straight line, probably here. This is the break. It can try to retest. Let's try to make it straight. Something like here. It can try to make a retest and then continue the upside. But what it is interesting even more, one, make a retest. If we do a third push, with a failure, then we're gonna have head and shoulders. And if it breaks here, it mean move meet the 200 probably here at the 5, let's say 550, right? 552, 550. So at the moment, this is a gap, so probably it wants to close the gap. Usually it tends to do so. We have a big volume on a red candle. We have the tail. So it's seems that the buyers try to buy from this zone. Let's move for the 4-hour chart. We can see, of course, it's hanging here. Trend start to change. It didn't. Usually the blue line, you want to see it break. And at the moment it didn't. Momentum is weakening. There is no divergence in a smaller time frame. There is a divergence in the weekly, and we don't have it on the 4-hour chart. I don't think we saw it on the daily. Let me check at the daily. I don't think we see it. This is 91.65. No, there is no divergence on the daily. So it means any move could take weeks to finish. We have to wait. We could see a divergence for continuation because this is obvious here. This is 1086. This is below. So we have here divergence for continuation. This is a lower high. This is lower low. So could mean just it managed to cross here something like this. So it can do something like this if the buyer will come. For the, let's say 607, I think this will be the last push. What else do I see here? I think it wants to move a little bit lower. Maybe for this zone, for the 580 again. And from there establish. You can see the buyers coming in at the last session. See here the volume. See buy coming in, bigger volume at this candle, like a doji, like a shooting stars. So it doesn't mean that we're gonna see a shift. It does mean that if we close above, it can continue. So at the moment, I'm still bullish. Let's check the, so, all right, this is the 1 hour chart. This is the correct one. So we can see the gap up and then the pullback. See the big volume coming at the end of the session. So buyers were more interested in the 585 area. So it could mean continuation at the beginning of the session. But what do we see? We have no divergence in the 1 hour chart. So it means continuation. We do have divergence at how we saw it in the 4 hour chart, bigger one. All right. So I do think we're gonna see if trying to close the gap 577, so be prepared for it, and then it will try to push for the upside. So far in the smaller time frame, let's say few days, a couple of days, can try to move for the downside, even though there is big push at the end of the session of buyers. So it can just continue higher. So do both ways. At the moment, let me check something. Even if it will move up, it can create divergence for continuation for the downside. So even if it will move for the 588, even 589, let's say here, it will create divergence for the downside for continuation. So for the shorter time frame, I'm biased for the 577, 576 for the closing the gap, and from there trying to look for buyers. But it's going to be unique because if it breaks the 580, it's a key area, the 580. It could spike down for the 577, and I want to see immediately buyers pushing it above the 580. If they will fail, it can mean the beginning of, let's say, the deeper pullback, the ABC scenario trend, something like this here for the 540, guys. So the 580 is a key area to see how it's going to react. So this is it for the SPY. See if we're going to see the same with the Qs. All right, the end target, you can see it here. I didn't touch it. Was the 510. Spiked a little bit above, back inside. Okay, now let's clear it. It's still bullishy, even though it did this move. It's okay. It's trying to closing the gap. Big volume coming. Probably you're gonna see it here. Oh, this is more volume for the downside. All right. Let's see what we see on the weekly. Broke below, so usually S&P is the 50% pullback. Qs is 180 Fibonacci pullback, and this is okay. This is okay. The Qs is a little bit more volatile. It's okay. This I can clear, and we can see it here. This is the first push, bigger push, third push, divergence for the downside. It crossed here, so be very careful. It crossed, so it can be a sign for a deeper pullback now. Let's move on again for the daily to see what we see here. No divergence, it broke, so we need to see on the daily also a second push, a failure, and then on the 4 hour chart it didn't cross here. Same goes here. So we're probably gonna see at this last attempt in the smaller time frame. And here, same goes. It tried to close. There is the divergence there. Will take some time to move for the upside. Let me check something here. It probably wants to touch the 490 where it is here. Yeah, it wants to touch the 490, but it won't be that good because this is the 497, 496.50 is a key area, and this is the reason why the buyers immediately came, try to close here. But any move for the upside will bring the sellers, even if it managed to push up for the 504, 505, let's say here, will create divergence or continuation down, and this will be the second leg. This will be the second big leg like we saw in the SPY. So this is 505, bigger leg, here smaller leg. Alright guys, something like this. So should be very careful from this scenario. The trend didn't change yet. There is a divergence for continuation for the upside. You don't see it in the smaller time frame yet, so be very careful with it. So if you try to take long, I would take it, and I will take it for a small size and very quick, not for the longer time. If you are DCA, this is something else. You can DCA from here each month. It's okay. So same goes for now for the Qs. I can see it, smaller time frames, Qs and SPYs moving for the downside, trying to close the gap, and if even a little more, I will look for the spike for the downside, making the sellers go short and then moving back in. At the moment, a little bit red in this week, I think. Let's move for the IWM, the Russell. Russell is interesting, guys. Suddenly, the Russell became more volatile, all right? The big push for the upside, and then immediately, this is a false break for the upside here, closing the gap. So it will try to push a little bit lower here to close this line for a retest. This is the big volume that came in here. It's okay. We look at it on a weekly time frame, see what happened. Big push and immediately a move for the downside. This is divergence. It didn't cross yet, so we need to wait. It was obvious from this here, green, and immediately push for the downside. So did the break, same goes. Am I bullishy? Yes, because you can see it here, slowly grinding, not like the Qs and the SPY. It's more moving nicely for the upside, but it's grindy for the 300, I think, slowly. But again, there is divergence. It didn't finish yet, so we need to for the picture to be fulfilled. Again, here it didn't change, so any move for the downside will change the trend and it won't be good. But I think what it will do, even if it will spike down a little bit, it will push up for retest and then the sellers will come in. So now the sellers are waiting again. You can see momentum is changing for the downside. I don't think we see it in the Qs. See in the Qs, we didn't. So the I and also the SPY, the IWM is leading, I think. We should follow it. So it can push a little bit, move for the upside, and then the sellers will come in. This is the last push, I think, for the upside on the hourly time frame. Very oversold. So most sellers interested in selling. I think they'll try to push for the closing the gap for the 224. The end zone is the 221.20, something like this, 221 here for a retest of break. Usually tend to go there, maybe 225.30 here. All right, bid area. Do we have any strength? Not at the moment. I don't see any strength. I see more weakness. So I'm biased to the downside this week. On the longer term, I'm biased for the upside, guys. It's just correction. Any move for the downside, just bringing more bias for the longer term. Let's move on for Tesla. What Tesla did this week? Amazing. Let's check it up. All right, so you can see the Fibonacci here. This is the end zone break, which is good. Can it move for the upside? Kind of weird here. The weekly doesn't give us much. Let's go for the daily. And on the daily, we can see divergence growth. So it means moving for the 300 and even trying, I think, closing the gap here. Let me check something. We are in a weakness state, even though the move for the upside was strong. So now we need to see how the sellers reacting. I think it could try to reach again for the 326. All right, let's move for the 4-hour chart. I think it will try to reach for this area and then the sellers will react. You can see the divergence, smaller ones, so it can try to push. We can see momentum start to be negative. This is negative, negative. We have the divergence for the final push for the upside, and then we want to see the sellers stepping in. And I think the sellers will defend the 333 and will try to, and will start to enter at the 326, 327, I think. And so be very careful because we are very close to this area. And there is a divergence for the downside. It just need to clear it. We need to break probably below the 316. Let me check. Even in smaller time frame, if you want to be a little bit more risky, 319. If it close below, it push for the downside for continuation. And if it push, we'll push for the 306 and probably. Let me check. I don't know if 311, 306, and maybe for the just for the 300 could be very interesting. So let's check something. Yeah, it was a big move for Tesla, guys. Big move for Tesla. Check the 1-hour chart. You can see it here. Very nice. This is 1, 2, maybe 3 for the 300, and then try to resume. Divergence for the downside. You can see this is making lower high. This is making higher high. Just needs to cross a little bit for the downside, just red. Then continuation for the 300. If it wants to move for the upside, probably above the 324, but be careful. I won't like it. Even if it move higher, I will wait to see the reaction. If I see that my bias was wrong and I see it again closing above those area around the 340, it push again for the 353, guys. So this is Tesla, Apple. Let's try to be more quick. Probably gonna see the same. Big sideways in the daily. Nothing much, no divergence. Just mean think more divergence for the downside. This is 1. I think it's 2. I think the big stock's trying to reach for the 200. I think on the daily. 210, maybe 212 here to retest in a smaller time frame. Take it slow. This is negative, but this is, you can see it here. It's a little bit negative trend, but momentum start to be positive.
So it's still positive. I think we see a break below the 215, close below. See if we can. Second. Yeah, this is the divergence. This is the move. Maybe we're gonna see the second leg this week with Apple here. Nothing much. No divergence, so it means continuation for the downside, I think. And Nvidia. All right, Nvidia. 10 moves, 1, 2, 3. Divergence, cross to give us continuation lines for the downside. You look at it here, it's still bullish. You can see it's still strong. It didn't cross below the blue. Momentum started to be a little bit negative. Any red can change the trend for the downside, so be very careful. Didn't finish the move for the downside, so I think it will try to spike down, then give the move for the upside. Meta. Right, should take some time. Meta, deeper pullback. Slowly grinding. It seems like a pullback in time, so we need to see if the bar is holding the 550 or the 537. Let me check the trend here change for continuation down. It closed, so it wants to move for the downside, guys. So probably try to reach for the 535. Be ready for it. Nothing very, yeah. Because of the big move on Friday, it could mean just a bounce, divergence, and continuation. So be prepared for it. That's mRNA. I know, guys. Oh my god. What happened to mRNA? See the volume. This is just hopping to average down the losses. See what happened here, guys. 6, let's say they bought it on the 67. Now they buy it on the 40, let's say. They're averaging down. Be very careful. Nothing much to say there. Moving down. Oh my god. All right. EA. EA is interesting. Very weak. We see it on the weekly how it looks. See it here. Not that good, guys. This is a big sideways. Now it's trying to come back from this area. So if the buyer wants to hold it, this is their last defense, the 120. Let's look at it here. Oh, didn't even. Oh my god. So negative, guys, negative. Let me see if we can see a pullback. No pullback, guys. So any push for the upside would bring the sellers, guys. Smaller time frame maybe. See, this is divergence. You can see it move up. Now, in order to clear it, it needs to break this area. And if it managed to break it, we'll push down and then continue higher for the, let's say, the 150, 147. But at the moment, red candle, continuation down. Sellers immediately will join if they will see a red candle. If it's opening a gap up, some nice news. But any move for the upside in any 145, 144 will bring the sellers because it will create divergence here, guys. I think it's already created. Let me check. 93. All right. This is here. Not yeah. There is a divergence. It should in continuation for the downside. All right. Gold. Gold. All right. All right. It was obvious. This was a big move for the gold. But let me clear it up for the break for the upside. And it's okay because you can see it. Any move for the downside, if it continue, will create divergence. So even if it reached to the 228, it will bounce. But I think it will bounce here this week. This is the weekly. Move on the daily, we will see it. Will try to push down. It immediately will try to bounce and then retest
There is no divergence on the daily. You can see it here. So main continuation for the downside for the 230 even, for the 200 to bounce from it. If we look at it here, the trend changed there. Momentum is negative, negative, negative. So we are now in a downtrend. Probably the silver, same goes for here. This is a profit taking. It's okay. This is resting here. You see it crossed, resting a little bit on the daily and continuation. No divergence, so it means continuation a little bit down. Confirm the divergence, so it can mean push for the 2650. Let me check it here. Yeah. Let me see. No, it didn't cross below the 27. Close below 2750. So could be interesting. Could be interesting. Started to push and look it up. But so move for the smaller time frame from the upside above the 28. All right, this is above. You can see this is above. So above, closing above 28, doing push up, pull down, and then continue for the upside. But at the moment, downside, be very careful. But I think the silver's at the end of the down session of it. Oxy. All right, Oxy. Down, 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 down. Resting on the 50, bouncing on the 50, accumulation at the 50. It's okay. Do we see any sign of breaking the trend? I don't think so. Or we can see it. This is the big tail, big bars coming and the 50. Taking the stop losses. It's okay. Don't see any continuation, so it could mean sideways. Let's check the 4-hour chart. Yeah, resting here at the 49.38. Oh my god, touching it, closing above, moving up, resting. Check, there is a divergence, but not a clear one. This is a pullback in time in a downtrend. You can see the momentum is up, 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 up. The price action is straight, straight, straight. So the buyers will be eventually fatigued. Then the sellers will come. So be very careful, because oil can still see more down side of it. Let's look at it on the weekly how it looks. Yeah, it can move for the 43, 42 here for the retest, and even here 33. Not that good, not that good. Let's clear it up. Divergence for the downside. Be very careful with Oxy and the oil. So far down, guys. So let's finish up, guys. So S&P. If we want to sum it up, on the weekly, on the daily, the trend is up. On the monthly, the trend is up. So any pullback will bring more buyers. So now the question is, where is the pullback ends? I could see in one variation that we did a ABC form, and now we need to see a negative ABC, which we need to be smaller. We have divergence on the weekly, but we don't have divergences on the daily and on the 4-hour chart. So it means that we can see a smaller push in a smaller time frame on the 1 hour, on the 4-hour chart. But eventually, if we got divergence there also, we gonna see a bigger push for the downside. We see some sign in the stocks that means continuation for the downside, like Apple, Nvidia, and stuff. But we didn't get the clear confirmation. The IWM is leading, it seems to be, with much volatile and weakness in it. So it could lead for the downside. So at the moment, in this smaller time frame, I'm a little bit bearish, and I will look for an opportunity to enter for a longer time frame. So this is it, guys. Last prediction was correct. We reached for the end zone. The 600 could push for the 607. I don't think it will happen this week, but it can. So any big move for the upside will be a little bit smaller. So and it is good for day trader because the market will be more volatile. And day traders love volatile market. So this is it, guys. Hope you like this pretty. Read carefully. This is those were my opinions. So read carefully. Do your own due diligence, guys. This is it. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.